Good morning. Happy Sabbath. Raise your hand if you've ever been struck by lightning. Okay, so for those who have raised their hand, God bless you. But for me, I haven't. But I do feel like I came close once. Each year in the United States, approximately 40 million lightning strikes hit the ground, resulting in about 43 people being struck. Statistics show that men are 4 times more likely than women to be struck. This might have something to do with some of the questionable decisions men seem to make. Like the time me and my father went on top of a mountain during a storm. I was 7 years old, and we went on a camping trip to Black Balsam Knob, here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. To be fair, we had checked the weather forecast beforehand, and it only called for a little rain. Sure enough, as soon as we finished setting up the tent, the rain began to fall. However, it didn't take long before getting inside our tent to realize this was going to be a little more than just a little shower. The rain started falling harder, it got very dark, and we began to see flashes of light through the sides of the tent walls. We had experienced storms when camping before, but never a lightning storm on top of a bald mountain. We were very exposed, and lightning was all around us. My father and I said a prayer that Jesus would keep us safe. Actually, we said several prayers. It was hard not to be nervous about our situation. But at this point, all we could do was wait and have faith that Jesus would keep us safe. Sure enough, the storm eventually passed, and we emerged from the tent unharmed. As we stepped outside, we were greeted by a beautiful reminder that our faith is awarded, and prayers are indeed answered. It's interesting how we find faith easiest when we're dealing with scary moments in life, whether being caught in a lightning storm, experience a car accident, or being diagnosed with cancer. Our faith becomes a short lifeline, and it's the sudden fear we experience pushes us to cling to God for protection almost automatically. In Psalms verse 56, verse 3 through 4 explains, "But when I'm afraid, I will put my trust in you. I praise God for what he has promised. I trust in God, so why be afraid? What can mere mortals do to me?" But what about those times when fear is replaced by confusion or anger, and life doesn't make sense? Losing a job, hearing about another school shooting, or losing a loved one. It's hard to trust God during these situations. When you may feel abandoned and don't understand why something's happening. So what can we do? Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6 gives us these instructions. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will with all you do, and he will show you which path to take." Those who are familiar with the story know how Abraham's test was faith experienced. But what about his son? Imagine Isaac, just a young man, being asked by his father to come help give a sacrifice to the Lord, something his father has asked him many times before. Except this time maybe Isaac's noticing some troubled looks on his father's face. He's unaware of what the task of God has for his father. The trip to Mount Moriah was a 3-day journey, and it wasn't until around the middle of the last day when Abraham asked his servant to stay behind. Now, Isaac's probably starting to question what was going on at this point. After reaching the top of the mountain, Isaac finally asked his father what they would be giving as a sacrifice, with Abraham's responding, "God will provide." Isaac must have been confused, but he continues to help his father prepare the altar, building it up with stone and gathering firewood to burn. Then, without warning, the realization of what's about to happen hits Isaac, as he is bound and placed on the altar. Bad things happen to everyone, but could you just imagine being prepared to be sacrificed by your own father? The lack of understanding, feeling, and abandonment and fear that Isaac must have experienced is unimaginable. Isaac's faith didn't make sense in this moment. It would have been so easy for him to question God's fairness, to run away, or to refuse to cooperate. But instead, Isaac had faith that God would keep him safe. But more importantly, he trusted God. Isaac's story teaches us something profound about faith. It's not just moments when things make sense or we suddenly conveniently need God's help. Faith is for all times, especially when we're frustrated, when life seems unfair, and we don't understand God's plan. It's easier said than done. But in Psalms 37, verse 3 through 5, gives us more instruction. "Trust in the Lord and do good. Then you will live safely in the land of prosper. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you all your heart's desire." Commit everything to the Lord. Trust him, and he will help you. Just as Isaac did, we too are called to trust God's greater purpose. Even when life seems uncertain, true faith isn't always about having the clear answer, but trusting God's wisdom. Even in the most challenging and perplexing times, we must remember that through all life storms, whether we see the rainbow at the end or not, we can rest assured that God is always with us, guiding and protecting us.